Hello, everybody. My name is Mark Hilliard, and this is the Mystical Light cohort on the Arcanum. And this evening we are doing Ilan's Level 4 critique. This promises to be a very interesting critique. His images are varying and quite spectacular. I think you'll enjoy them all. I've been looking forward to this one for quite a few weeks while they've prepared the images and moved them forward to this point. At this point, I'm going to turn this over to Ilan and ask him to tell us a little bit about himself and his philosophy towards photography. Ilan, it's all yours.
Thanks, Mark. Hi, my name is Ilan Ovseyevitz. I'm a budding photography enthusiast here in Mexico City. I'm a retired student, currently working, unfortunately. I see photography as a means to capture places, to capture memories, to capture life, specific moments in life, and take them forever. I started my affection towards photography as a family, not family history, but due to my family's history. Most of my grandparents' family, from both sides, died in World War II in Europe. So the only way I knew them was through photos and through my parents telling me their history. So that really resounded to me. I see life as experiences and photography as a means to relive those experiences. And fortunately for me, I can almost remember every single aspect of every photo I've taken. So that gives it a little bit of a bonus for me and for what I can tell to the people seeing my pictures. So I picked 6 images. They're not the best. There's some of them I really like. Some of them I really wanted to hear Mark's critique about them. So when you're ready, I'm ready.
All right, very good. Let me share the desktop. We will get our Hall of Mirrors going here, which is our funky town, for a few moments. Here we go. And you all should have my desktop now, correct?
Correct.
All right. Well, let's start with your first image, Ilan, of the Eiffel Tower. Correct? That is the Eiffel Tower?
Exactly.
All right. I was there 20 years ago, and it was an amazing structure. So tell us your philosophy and your vision for this image, please.
When I was there, we had the fortune that 2 of the main 4 elevators that go from ground level up to the first level were out of order. So we had this long line waiting to get up to the Eiffel Tower. We were up, my wife and I were there about for 2 hours before we could go up. And the afternoon suddenly turned into dawn. And we had these amazing clouds and these amazing colors and everything. So while we were in line waiting to go up, I looked up towards the Eiffel Tower and saw this amazing and unique view that I had never seen before on a photograph. So I got my camera out. Well, I took my camera in hand because I already had it out and started shooting, playing with focal lengths, playing with most stuff in the camera, and came up with this amazing color picture. When I got home, I decided just to give it a try and run it to black and white. And that's what came up. I think it gave a completely different sense, a completely different view to the photograph. And fortunately, I think it's a unique view of the tower. And as I put the name of it, it was just like staring at this big giant from their feet. And I really loved it. And the only thing I did after this image, actually I processed it around 2 years ago in black and white. And then a couple of weeks ago, I ran into this program called Noiseless from MacFun for the Mac, and just decided to try it out with this picture just to see what it can do. And I think what it did to correct the noise and turn it out so smooth was something amazing.
Okay, all right. Good backstory. Let me ask you a pre-question here before we start in. Do you use Photoshop or Lightroom?
Photoshop.
Do you use the Nik filter set?
No, I didn't.
Okay, you have the Nik filter set.
I have it. I'm starting to play a little bit more with it, just trying to destroy some pictures to get the hang of it.
Okay.
This was done in ACR and then directly to Photoshop with some masking layers and black and white layers.
Okay, great. Well, let's talk about the image. I have to give you a big wow on this. This is a powerful image. It has all of the right components in all of the right places. To start off with, you've created this huge X across the center of the screen with the leg structure going up corner to corner, right? And then down in the lower right-hand corner, we're starting the leg and then the tower structure going on up towards infinity. This is a powerful compositional element. And without any other compositional elements added to it at all, it already gives you this super powerful image that you've created. Now, let's add a few other components to that. Let's look at all of the triangular structure in this image. Anytime that you can use triangles or squares, but especially triangles, the power of thirds applies to even components of the composition. So these triangles, then the girders, as we start down in the corner and just follow up and throughout the image, all the way up out the top of the image, creates this emotionally filled image that just draws us into it as though we're a 3D ladder leading up into infinity. The lighting is perfect. The black and white conversion is stunning. I see a couple things that I want to draw your attention to. See this bright light here shining down on us?
Yeah.
If we can't do anything with this light, then we should clone it out.
Okay.
All right? But given the fact that that light is there are some pretty spectacular things that you can do to that. There are filters that will enable you to put a reflective star on that light, which you could have done in camera. How long was this exposure? It was pretty fast, wasn't it? Or,
I think it was a 1/15th.
Let me look that up here. All right, a 200th at f8. Okay. In order to get a star created from the refractive index around the aperture blades inside your lens, you would probably have to go higher than f8, f11, f16. And by doing that, the camera would have generated a star pattern from this light all by itself.
You know, I don't know if you had the chance to look at the raw file I sent you of that picture. The main problem I had with post-processing was I did in ACR, I did some basic exposure correction to get all the detail from the legs, so to speak, of the tower. By doing that, this area here that you're pointing right now completely got blown out. Okay. So I started working in Photoshop with layers to correct it, and this was the least blown up rendition I could get of that light.
Okay, yeah, so chances are if there was a star there, you lost it in the post-processing then. But you know what I mean, though, about the star and being able to create a visual impact by having this star pattern here created by the refraction of the aperture blades?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. And like I said, there are filters that you can use to achieve that. One of them is down here is it's called, oh, well, it's not going to help there. Let me go down here. I was on another layer, Topaz Lab Star Effects.
Okay.
One of these days you may want to investigate that for artistic purposes, because it seems to me that the artistic components that you're showing in your imagery, this would just fit right in with your workflow, okay?
Okay.
Another thing is I like this variegated, the sky up here. But the rest of this image has such an impact that the sky itself seems a little bit of a minor statement.
Okay.
And I want to show you something, and then I'll show you what I did, and then I'll show you how I did it, okay?
Okay.
I'm going to turn on a layer here, and I want you to look at the sky. You see the difference?
Yes.
Now, to me, that makes the sky more emotionally charged, and it better matches the impact of the tower itself. But that little bit of post-processing in the sky isn't going to make or break this image one way or another. It's a minor improvement in my eyes, and that's the eyes of the viewer of your image.
Okay.
I'm not saying that there is a right way or a wrong way to do this, but I am suggesting that bringing out that sky a little will help make this image just slightly more powerful. Do you agree or disagree with that statement?
No, I like it very much. It completely gives the photo a different mood. I like both of them.
Okay. Yeah, I do too. Now, I'm going to show you real quickly how I did that. I did that with the Nik tools, and I just simply brought up the Vivisa tool, which is the base tool that all the other tools are based upon.
Okay.
And I grabbed a control point here, add a control point, and I simply placed it on a white cloud up here. Okay? And then I brought up my structure slider. Just like that. And then I expanded it to cover the whole sky. And it was just that simple.
Okay.
Now what structure is it's micro contrast sharpening. It sharpens on a micro level. And you have to be careful of it because you can introduce noise into the image if you go too far with it. All right? But you can also use it to take the structure down on an element that you feel has too much structure. See, I added negative structure. Here's the base image, and here we'll just add a slight bit, you know, like 15, 17%. And then say OK, and it's going to create an adjustment layer for you in your Photoshop file. And that's all there is to it. Okay, it also brought in some enhancements in this white area down here. And there are ways to prevent a control point up here from accessing these other areas of the image, but because it actually enhanced the entire image, I'm just going to go with it for now, but later on I can show you how to add what are known as anchor points to remove its impact from down here in the girders, okay?
Okay, excellent.
Like I said, this is an extremely powerful image. I was very impressed with this, and I think right out of the gate on a level 4 critique that this is an amazing shot. I am very proud of you for this.
Thanks.
This image shows fabulous potential, and I'm going to give you a score of 3 on that, which is the top that I can give you. All right.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it that you like it.
Oh no, it's wonderful. Okay, let's move on to the next image, which is this looks like Paris to me.
That one was taken on the same night. We went on first to the first level, then we went to the second, to the observation deck, and night was just settling in. So I took my camera after doing some pictures with me, my wife, and you know, your basic tourist pictures, I started looking for stuff to shoot around. I took off the Louvre. I can show it to you later. I took off the Arch of the Defense. I took off the Étoile there, the Triumph Arc, and everything. And in one of the sessions I had with one of my fellow cohorts, I decided to go with this one, just because everything that goes around with the picture. This isn't a picture that I said when I took it that I said, "Oh, I want this composition." I just started shooting around to see what I could find, what I could get. And once I got into the cohort and listening to and participating in some critiques, going through some videos, I decided that this image, because of the river going through the middle and all the light of the streets on both sides, could be a very good image. And there are some things technically that I know I could have done better. I didn't take my tripod on the trip. I was just shooting handheld and stabilizing with the the cords that are there to prevent people from falling out.
Right.
But the spot it's one spot that now that I have some more technical knowledge of the camera and of photography, I have to go back on the same date to get almost the same light, which was the beginning of summer in Paris, and I think I had 15 pictures taken that night. Take them even better.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, what can you say? You're in Paris, right? We're going to make the assumption that anything you shoot in Paris is going to be world class. And this is no exception. This is a very, very good exposure. Given that you did it with a relatively short exposure, it creates a very sharp image with lots of points of light. So I didn't look at this, but let's look real quick. All right, you did this at a 15th of a second at 3/8. Okay, well the 3/8's fine because you're shooting at infinity, so we don't have to worry about our depth of field. 15th of a second, those lights are still pretty dang sharp, don't you think?
I think that for what I knew then, compared to what I know now, it's incredible. And that's one of the things that I was talking to, I think it was Bob and maybe Pam, that if I could just go back and take a tripod or take a better lens, because this was taken with the basic kit lens, so that I can maybe pump up something and have a faster shutter speed or something, it would be even more amazing.
Yeah. Well, no, you did a very good job on this. Now, I hope that the next time you go to Paris that you take a tripod with you, though. And the reason that I say that is powerful as this image is, you can up the artsy-fartsy score, if you will, on this image had you done this as a 15 or 30-second long exposure and gotten all of the car movement through headlights and tailless lights through this. I think that would have taken this world-class image and even bumped it up to another level. I like everything about this. Normally, I would suggest the same treatment in the sky here as we did for the Eiffel Tower.
Okay.
But knowing that the sky is so dark and blue, and we're almost at the end of the blue hour, it looks like, the chances of getting that effect without having white clouds being underlit by the lights of the city like they were in the tower shot, if you try to bump up this sky, you're going to get more noise than anything.
Okay.
Okay, so you really won't be able to do that to the sky. But having said that, the water of the river here, these dark areas down here, if you would go in with a 5-Visa on these, you could bring out more structure, more image data in this area of the river here than is currently available. And it would brighten the river surface up considerably, and it would make this image much more powerful.
Okay.
I like the lines leading in from the bottom right and the bottom left of the road. You've created several nice triangular areas. I like the main road going off into infinity. The bridges and other triangles within it, the composition is just perfect. This is a image that I would be proud to have in my own portfolio. It is not quite as powerful as your Eiffel Tower shot, but it's pretty damn close, okay?
Okay.
And as such, I'm not going to give you a 3 on this image. I'm going to give you a 2 on this. Because I would like you to consider seeing what you can do in the surface of this water here and maybe present it in your level 5. See if you can do anything here. And play with the sky. I don't think you can really do anything with the sky.
Yeah, I think I might, because I'll tell you, I took some levels layers on Photoshop to bring some detail in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to the raw file, the sky was almost black.
Okay.
So I think there might be something there that we can do. There is just one thing that bothers me with the river.
Okay.
If you see the river is like split in half from the first bridge to the second bridge.
Yes.
And almost at the eye level, you have this boat right here, that source of light. So what I might try to do is see how much detail I can get from the river, and then see what happens to that boat.
Okay.
I like the light there of the boat because it gives context.
Oh, it does. But in all honesty, the boat is so small.
Yeah.
It's difficult to tell if the majority of the light's coming from the boat or if it's shining down from underneath the bridge and the boat just happens to be captured there.
Yeah, and this, I tell you that the main problem for me with this image, being critical of myself, is my lack of stabilization for the image.
Okay.
Because right in the middle where you see the bright spot on the next bridge, I don't know if you can zoom in with your tool.
Not right now.
Okay.
I've got a tool selected that I can't deselect.
Okay, but don't worry. Right there in the middle, the brightest part in the third bridge, that's where the little Statue of Liberty is at.
Oh, okay.
I think you saw it right there.
Right there. Yep, there she is. Lower right-hand corner of my screen.
Yeah. So with more focus or less motion blur, I think this would have been, you can print it as big as you like.
True.
Right now, I cannot go as far as I want to print it, but it's a nice starting point.
All right. Yeah, you're right, it is. And let's just look at this real quick. We'll add just a wee bit of brightness and a wee bit of structure to the river surface. Yeah, there's nothing in that side. What I'm looking for is to get that purple reflection, the blue reflection, purple reflection in the sky. All right. And let's just try one other thing here. Yeah, we can bring out a little, not too terribly much. Let's just do a quick before and after, if you will. Now that's what's so nice about these tools. They're just so damn powerful. All right, so we get just a little bit more color in the surface of the water. The boat actually stands out a little bit better. And then there's the statue that you're talking about. All right. Yeah, a little bit more stabilization would have helped that considerably, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tell me about it.
Great image, though. Great post-processing. You did a really, really good job on this. These images are difficult to work on. They really, really are. All right, so tell me about this one, please.
Oh, this is actually one of those pictures that you're just there trying to see what happened, and we're gonna see the complete scene in a bit. That's the big panorama I presented to you. My wife and I were in Mykonos in this private beach club, and we were just starving, so we decided to order something from the restaurant, and we got this amazing feta cheese dish. While I was sitting, I just put my camera on the tabletop, and I don't know why I just saw this. I just wanted to remember that dish, what it looked like, what it tasted like, and I took a picture. Then I just cropped it, converted it to black and white, and then with just the soft brush tool, I just brought out the color of the feta cheese and of the Greek flag, just to get the mood, you know. Like I put on the photo name, it's all Greek. The feta cheese with the phyllo wrapping, with the Greek flag. It was just, I can remember what that dish tasted like.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It was just amazing.
All right, good image plan and well executed. I like the selective color controls that you did when you did the conversion to black and white. You placed the main dish in the lower right-hand corner as an image anchor. Good leading lines up through the flags, following through to the 7-Up bottle. Okay. Now, had you turned that bottle and colorized the 7-Up label, you probably could have sold this for a couple $1,000s to the 7-Up bottling company.
I might do that.
Okay. But you got to have an image where the 7-Up bottle is turned and they can read 7-Up on it.
Yeah.
Okay. This is very well done. I just love everything about this. The only suggestion that I might have made to you at the time, and I know that this was a travel shot, that this was one of those impulse shots that happens to us once in a while, where our one side of our brain takes over and says, "Do this." But you see your wife's hand here?
Yeah.
You should have said, "Hey, sweetie, reach your fork over there and stick it into this piece of cheese." So what you have then is not only a travel shot or an advertising shot, but had she had her fork resting on the top of this, that would have given us a story behind the image. Getting ready to consume the dish that's just perfectly laid out and captured in your image. Sometimes if you see these kind of images in your mind before you take them, and you can think, how can I better improve this? You know, it's either have her hand totally out of the scene, or have her just lay her fork over on this.
Okay.
That might have added to it as well. It's just a small thing. It's no big deal. I like the image. I think that you had a vision. You executed it flawlessly. We're going to give this image a 2 out of the 3 as well. And you're already way past the score you need to move up to level 5. I like this. I think you did an excellent job.
Thank you.
All right. All righty. Tell us about this one.
This one, a couple of months ago, I bought a new camera, which is the Sony a6000. And around a month ago, I bought the 50mm f1.8 lens for the camera.
Okay.
And when I got home, I just decided to take the lens out for a spin. Unfortunately for me, it was my big daughter, and she was just playing around with my little, just born 3 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I think that you have right here. You have the wrong image. There should be another one which has a filter on it. I don't know if you have them there
Yeah, I do. Hold on.
because this is the basic image that I took from the lens. That's the one.
All right.
Okay. So the one that we had before was just there wasn't any raw file because since I was just fooling around with the lens, I took them all on JPEGs.
Okay.
So I took it. I have the camera set up that once I take the pictures, it sends them directly to my iPhone, and from there I just started playing with Snapseed and got this amazing effect that I really love, just to make it more like a painting, more art than photo. And well, it's a picture that I carry around on. It's my iPhone's wallpaper. It's everywhere I go. Just the purity of my two little princesses.
Okay. All right. Very good explanation. What's your new camera? It's a Sony what?
A6000.
How do you like that?
I love it, and if you see some of the videos that we have from critiques and trials and everything, you might think I'm a Sony salesperson.
No, 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 no.
I love it. The size of the camera is incredible, and I'm just waiting for December for my birthday so that I can get the new A7R2 ready in my hands to get everything.
Haha. See, you're just as much of a gear freak as the rest of us.
Oh, you don't want to get me started.
But the thing about that is as we invest so much money in our equipment that we have to be, we have to scream of the virtues of the system that we own, because we spend a lot of money on this equipment, and the Sonys are noted world over for their advanced functionality and image quality. So I like this very much. And when I go back and forth between this image, what I like about this image is I just love the detail in their eyes. But if I go back to the filtered image, I love the effect of the filters. But so now that I understand that you liked to do artistic creations with your images, I want to introduce you to another filter called Topaz Impressions. Have you ever seen that?
No. For me, up to the last couple of weeks since I've been in the cohort, for me, I didn't really like Lightroom that much. I organized my images with iPhoto or some sort of own manual format, and I just went to ACR and Photoshop.
Yep.
I downloaded Nik tools around 2 months ago just to see what it was like.
Yep.
But that's about it. I downloaded Noiseless because I like it. I saw what it did and I liked it. I have Pixelmator on my iPhone. I have Snapseed on my iPhone, but that's just to fool around,
Well, you understand that Snapseed is the iPhone version of the Nik tools.
No, I didn't.
It is. Snapseed came from Nik.
Yeah.
Okay. And they tried to put Nik tools on the iPhone, and that was their experiment when they put that out to us. Topaz Impression is a very similar tool, but what it does is they capture the theory behind all of the great artists of the past 2 centuries.
Okay.
And they give you a filter for these various artists that will overlay on top of the image. For instance, if you wanted to do a Van Gogh-ish style version of this image, they would have 2 different Van Gogh filters that you could run on it and make it very similar to his style in painting. And then they give you controls for making adjustments from that. And it's just an amazing piece of software. I highly recommend that you take a look at it, okay?
Okay.
It seems like in your hands you would be a quick master in its use, and I think you'd be very happy with it. We're not going to go into it. It's an exceptionally slow running filter because it goes and creates previews.
Okay.
And the preview creation process takes time because it's very CPU intensive. But it is, I think it will be very well worth your time for other images down the line. This is a very up-close and personal portrait. You captured it perfectly. The placements of the two girls' heads. We've got a triangle here, your daughter's arms here, and how her hands are folded on her chest, another triangle here. You've blurred the background out. I love the framing of her head with the red cloth, the softness of the filter as compared to this. Okay, the softness of the filter is very inviting and enticing, and I think it makes a very personal portrait that captures the essence of the two girls. You did an exceptionally good job on this, and most importantly, both of their eyes are super sharp. And that gives the image life, while the rest of the images are soft and very feminine because of the filters that you chose. I just love this, and I'm going to give you a 2 on this as well. Okay. I'd like to see more images of this style from you in the future, should you consider presenting them to me, okay?
Okay.
I just love this. Okay, let's close this. Let's close her. Okay, let's talk about the panorama.
The granddaddy of them all.
Yeah, this is a big boy. Tell me about this.
Remember I told you that I want, for me, photography is a mean to capture feelings, to capture sensations. And for me, there are little things that do it as well as Mother Nature. Sorry for the expression, I'm a sucker for big-ass panoramas like this. This is taken from, remember the shot of the food?
Right, Mykonos.
Yeah, this was taken from where we were eating out towards the bay.
Right. In fact, I think that this island here, this was in the background of the food.
No, it's the one on the completely on the right.
Okay.
It's not this one. It's the other. It's the continuation of this.
Okay.
Okay. So I just sat there in awe of what I was seeing, and I decided that I have to capture this. This is a stacking of 14 images, all shot standing up, handheld, with basic Photoshop panorama stitching. And this is the type of photography that I really like to do. As you can see also from the first image I submitted to the cohort of the Eiffel Tower, the one with the green cast on it. And I just love it. As it is, this image is 6 feet wide and 2 feet tall.
You've printed this?
No, I haven't. I just needed someone with the expertise or with experience to point out what are the final fine-tuning elements that I need to do so that I can go up to my brother-in-law who has this big 64-inch HP printers so that I can borrow one for a day and print this out.
Oh, okay. Wow, you said 14 images, right?
Yeah.
I bet this took you a little bit of time.
This is the second longest editing I've done, just behind the panorama of the Eiffel Tower. This one took in total around 4 hours to get it all the way up. Actually, if you see, down on the bottom right-hand side of the picture, you have these four light stands or light, whatever you want to call them. Then, if you go to the left, you'll see like there is a small triangle in the deck.
Yes.
In that triangle is where, remember on the foot shot that we had this, where the Greek flag and the European flag were standing?
Yes.
Those poles were right there.
Okay.
That was my biggest or block, or where I spent the most time, getting those two poles out of the picture.
Okay. All right. All right. Very good. All right. Well, let me back out of this image a little bit. Let's get it all in its entirety first. I admire the computer expertise that you've shown in stitching this together. I'm not noting any change in exposure between the 14 frames. Okay. And that's usually the biggest failure point, by not locking your exposure when you're doing a panorama shot. You have invariably one of the images is brighter or darker than the others. Okay, and you have beat that. As I sit and look at this, I do have to tell you that I love the scene in the background here, but as a viewer, I'm really not quite sure what your subject is in this. I mean, is it supposed to be the mountains? Is it supposed to be these lights down here? Is it supposed to be this expansive white surface area here? So the first thing that I notice is my eyes. They're drawn to these peaks right here, and then I'm jumping down to the lights, and then I'm following this line across to this hill starting here, and then back and down, and I'm constantly looking over the image trying to decide what the main subject or main component is that you're trying to show me.
Okay.
I agree that, as in all things panorama, it's good to have a foreground, a midground, and a background, which you have. What is this exactly here, this white surface?
It's a deck.
Okay.
Okay, it's just this concrete deck where the hotel or the private club we were at in the summertime would throw these incredibly long music and beach parties.
All right. If you walk up to the edge of the deck and you look down, what do you see?
The sea.
Is it straight ocean, or is there a rocky beach there?
No, it's straight ocean. The only beach is to the right.
All right. In all honesty, I have to tell you that this entire deck is horribly distracting.
Okay.
It just takes away from the perfectness of this scene. And anything that doesn't add to the scene is a negative. And given that, you might have been better to walk out to the edge and just had the water in the scene rather than this deck. Or maybe some chairs on the deck facing out towards the scene.
Yeah.
That might have worked as a compositional element, giving this deck some meaning, because right now we don't know what this is.
Okay.
And did they have chairs for people to lay out on?
No, all the chairs are that they were on the beach. The reason that why I took the deck in the photograph, not the post processing, was it gave me, so to speak, a level on which to portray or to take the camera around and take the pictures.
I understand. I understand what you're saying, and like I said, we do need something in the foreground. I'm just not sure if this was ideal for this image.
Okay.
It really is distracting from a viewer's point of view, looking into the image. Another thing that I notice is your horizon is not straight.
Okay.
If I put a line across here for you, okay,
Mm-hmm.
you'll see that the C is going down on the right-hand side and coming up on the left.
Okay.
All right. That's something that's very easy to correct. So that's not that big a deal. One other thing that I noticed when I zoom in on this, and this is something that I'm gonna look for in each and every one of your images, are sensor dust spots.
Okay.
1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, you're gonna see it repeated because, let's say, if we have 4 dust spots, you're gonna find 64 of them.
Yep, you're right.
Because we're going.
See this great big dark circle here?
Yeah.
You need to either clone that out with sky from either side, or maybe try the healing brush here.
Yeah.
To go over it and see if you can get that out. Is when you print this at 2 feet wide, or 2 feet tall, how wide was it again?
No, 2 feet wide. No, 2 feet tall, 6 feet wide.
Okay. These things are going to really jump out at you. The very first dust spot, like this one right here, that you see in that printout, you're going to go, oh my goodness, what did I do? And then it's too late.
Yeah.
It is probably the same exact dust spot across all the image. See, here it is again.
Yeah.
Now, let's look at these clouds and these hills out here. Man, Ilan, these are super sharp and full of wonderful contrasting colors. Your treatment of the clouds was just perfect. They're moody. They're low-hanging. I love the colors and the contrast in these hills. I even like these lights here, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Are these laying down? Should these be up?
From what they told us, when they get these big summer parties going, they put these lights up for night.
Okay. All right.
They were kind of in an off-season. They said that 2 weeks later, after we were there, that deck would be filled with people 24/7.
Okay. All right. Well, like I said, this image has such great potential, and your panorama processing is very well done. The ocean I love the treatment of the ocean, the waves and the color fading from light green on the right-hand edge to dark blues and blacks on the left. But as I stated, I look at this and I have a real hard time trying to determine what the subject is on this. Normally on an image like this, it's going to be the islands and the sky and the ocean. But I do find this deck really, really distracting.
Actually, one thing, when I stitched the whole panorama together, one of the main problems I had with, not composition, but with composing the panorama for printing was the proportions. That I think 6 feet by 2 feet, it's too wide and too narrow. So one thing that I was leaning towards more like end processing was right around where you have your pointer, you know?
Mm-hmm.
To crop the image from that point to the right. Yes,
that would. That indeed would work. And you're right. Having an image that size is a really difficult printing proposition. The cost of printing this is going to be exceptionally high. One of the things I do is I run a GK printing service lab here in Pawleys Island that I own. And printing this on canvas 2 feet wide and 6 feet long, you're talking big dollars, especially in ink. The canvas isn't that expensive, but the ink that you're going to lay in this canvas will take your breath away in its cost.
Fortunately, you're in your bedroom. You know how much it costs me to print pictures with my brother-in-law?
I would think it'd be free.
I just buy the paper. So I have a roll of Oh, I don't recall exactly right now, but in his lab, well, in his factory, so to speak, in his lab, I have a roll of photo paper just
Okay.
for me.
Huh. So
So
that makes
whenever,
such a big difference.
yeah, whenever he goes into slow season, then I go in and actually we have mutual benefit agreement. I keep his printers from clogging, and he keeps me from paying for prints.
Well, running those printers that are as big as he's got, one would hope he'd be running those 24 hours a day.
Most of the year he does. Around this time he goes into slow
Yeah.
season, so
All
I get
right.
one for about a week, and then maybe I get the other. He currently has two printers, so I get one for about a week, and then the other one for about another week, and that's it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'd be interested to see what you do with this image, maybe in a future level.
Okay.
The image has great possibilities, especially if you could do something with these skies and these hills going off to the right. And given that you're considering cropping it, you might even be able to leave this deck in because, believe it or not, these lights add a little bit more interest in the foreground over here.
What I was thinking is just about right about where you have it right now. Not the pointer. You moved it to the left of your screen.
Yes.
Maybe a couple of inches more to the left. That would be my final composition. No, then to the right. Sorry.
Okay.
About there would be my final composition. Maybe crop or stamp some of the deck out
Mm-hmm.
so that I can get the lights. But I think that would be my final printing composition.
Okay. Well, let's see what you do with this one in the future. I'm going to give you a 2 on this one as well, okay?
Okay.
I like the effort. This is a huge investment of time. I know how this is. I do these. So I'm impressed that you put the effort into it, but please consider what I'm talking about in terms of the distracting elements to the image.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay? All right, let's go to the last one. All right, tell us about this one.
Okay. This is the best, and like we were talking before, this photo, I went up to Copenhagen for a business trip. And one day we finished our meetings early, so I got my camera, my two lenses, and started walking around, let's say, to the east part of the city. And
Okay.
then I came up to Rosenborg Park. And walking around, I started taking pictures and everything. And then I came up to this amazing path just in the middle of the park with this amazing tree line. And I said, I have to take it. And I took this picture also in color. But the moment I saw it in my computer, I knew that there was something missing. The color didn't do the picture any good or the place any good. So I just went on, when I got back to Mexico, I got on Photoshop and started working with layers and all kinds of layers, stamping right here in the middle. Well, in the middle of the pathway, you see there is a light right there. There was a person going through with a bicycle in it. So, and right around this bench, there was a dog walking, and I started taking everything that I didn't like and stamp it out. And then when I had it in black and white, I started fooling around with exposure layers to get the colors and the highlights. Here to the top right, you have two rows of trees. The one on the top of the one on the right, you can see exactly where the sunlight was coming through.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it came through. So I wanted just to put some highlights on the top of those trees to just set the mood and give it some continuation to what happened with the trees on the left. and then all the way back to the building on the far side of the pathway.
Mm-hmm.
If I could rate my pictures on the top 5 that I have, some edited, some no, some I haven't gotten up to that point. I think this one and the one of the Eiffel Tower are neck and neck for the top of my pictures.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, without even going into the image, I'm going to tell you that this is a solid 3 before we ever start.
Okay.
Okay. And I admire your vision in this. The fact that you looked at this and realized what needed to be done and then made it happen speaks volumes about your vision in photography. Our cameras are nothing more than a tool. And the fact that you walked up and looked at the scene and then took your tool and made it happen says great things about you. And you're going to go far with your photography. Your vision for the highlights along the top of these trees from the sun coming down, just wonderful. I might have left the dog down here on the bench, but I would have taken the bicycle away. The tree line is just perfect. It is a beautiful image. I love the subtle tonality that you achieved in the leaves. I know that this is not how they looked in black and white, that you've done this in Photoshop. I would have looked at this and said, oh, this is 830 nanometers infrared, but it's not. And that you created this in Photoshop says great things about you. Okay? This one would be worthy of putting out on your brother's printer. Having said that, I would like you to pay a little bit more attention up here in the sky.
Okay.
Right here. You see this bird-shaped or airplane-shaped shadow right here?
Yeah.
You need to do something with this and smooth it out just a little bit more. You could do this with the healing brush. You don't need to come in here with layers. We have really good tools. The healing brush would work. You could use the clone and stamp this out a little bit more from the surrounding area. Do you use the healing brush at all?
I started a couple of months ago.
Okay, the healing brush is probably enough here, especially if you choose a soft brush. All right. And if I choose a source like right in here and just paint over that slowly, see how I'm painting that away?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, see, that's all we need to do is just use the healing brush, and we can take that out of place shadow right out of the image. All right? Other than that, this image is simply perfect. I mean, I can't give you any greater compliment than that.
It means a lot.
This is a wonderful image, and this is a solid heavy 3. Aside from this little shadowy area up here, there's not much that you can do to improve on this. I suppose you could consider darkening this sky up here a little to make it more in contrast with the trees.
Okay.
You could try that in Vivisa and see how that works. I don't know if it's worth the effort. I don't know if it would even... Oh, you've made this black and white. Let's change the
But maybe
mode.
And then when I go back into when I get all the info back from my NAS, I have also the PSD for this photo.
Sure, but going back in and recreating this would be
No. It might be what you're suggesting done on the base layer because I have all the layers that I did.
Oh, okay.
So I can do it on one of the base layers, and then all the color editing that's done after.
You see what I'm talking about here in the sky?
Yeah.
And put the control point more over here so it's darker on this corner and lighter here, and then simply increase the size of it.
Yeah.
lightly.
I just have to go in and play, because I'll tell you what I really love about this image, and it's not even the trees. You see the cloud formation in the middle.
Yes.
That it almost the reason I took out the dog here near the bench for two reasons. I didn't like it down here, and it was similar in shape to these clouds right here. To me, these clouds almost look like a deer, you know?
Okay.
So I get your critique, and I'll look into it. I just don't want this to contrast too much with this, because then I think it might get some focus out of this formation right here. But
of course.
I'll look into it.
Of course. And that's the thing about artistic vision. You can look at an image and see something totally different than another viewer looking at it, and it's all highly subjective. The things that I've suggested for your images, all 6 of them, as we've moved through this evening, are from a viewer's vantage point.
Yeah.
Without your artistic vision in my head to guide me. Some things, of course, like the sensor dust or the horizon not being straight, those are kind of universal fixes.
Yeah.
A darkened sky here, that's more of an artistic impression. And having a darker sky won't necessarily make this a better image. It'll just give more contrast to the trees, nothing more. And you have to approach this with your vision in mind, because that is the most important consideration for you as an artist.
Yeah, I just have to. I agree with you totally on the dark skies. I just have to play with it to see how it blends with the trees and with everything that's going on.
Okay.
And that's just for me. I think that if I darken this part too much, then the bottom part of the sky is right here, after the clouds, then gets buggy for me. But I'll look into it.
Okay. Well, like I said, all we're doing is trying to give you suggestions.
And
wonderful work, good presentation, good image choices, and way more than enough points to advance to the next level. That is for sure.
Thanks.
Okay. Like I said, I thought that I'd get through this in 15 minutes, and it's gone over an hour. See, I don't even know my own mind, do I?
Oh, that's a problem with our mind.
Yep. But anyways, this was very well done, and I'm very proud of the image work that you've provided me to look at here this evening.
Thank you very much.
You're going to be a very powerful photographer. It's coming. And your images now are giving us lots of mood, a lot of ethereal nature feelings, just absolutely stunning work. And like I said, I'm proud that you chose me to critique them for you.
No.
Very well done. Guys, please feel free to unmute, make comments.
Yeah, there's some great shots here. I've got, he has a lot more patience than me with them panoramas. I don't like the panoramas that much.
They're hard to do.
Well, they're hard to visualize for me on a, say, 24-inch screen even. You can't see enough to visualize the whole thing, and I like to see a whole picture.
Yeah, and that's one of those profound truths, John. I do 50-inch panoramas of my own work, and I hang in my galleries. And there's no way to visualize those on a screen. You have to take a leap of faith, work your image, print it, and then move from there. That's the only way you can work through this.
And what I do, and I have many more panoramas that I have the basis for them, and I haven't gotten on to editing them, is that I always, when I see a scene, a majestic scene, the first thing I do is I visualize it, once it's printed and it's on a blackboard, be it for my house, for anywhere. That's how I do with. That's my first step in panoramas. Sometimes I see this scene that I say, "Oh, it's gonna look great." The moment I start stitching, I go, "That's not working." But it's trial and error. But instead of looking at the scene as how do I take it, I start by the end and say, how is it gonna look good printed on a big scale? If it works for me, I go forward and get it done. Then it might work, it might not, but first, that's my first train of thought for these big panoramas.
It is. It's a big leap of faith for you, isn't it? Especially once we do the printing. To go from the computer side to the print side, that's a big step.
Yeah. I have this one that I want. Right now, I'm not on the same trip to Greece. I was standing in the middle of the old Olympic Stadium in Olympia, and I went 360 degrees around it. At the time, it looked incredible, like a composition, like an idea. But when I got the pictures, it was all green grass. So I said, there's no point in it. I have some nice photos that I can post-process, but the panorama, once I stitched it together, it didn't work. So it goes down the drain.
Yeah. Well, like I said, very well done, impressive set of images, and we appreciate you sharing them with us this evening.
No, thank you for choosing me. I'm glad that you like them.
Yep, I do. I think you're going to be a very powerful photographer.
Thank you very much.
I am going to stop the broadcast. Hold on here.